Ladies and gentlemen, take a good look at these children. Now take a look at the house where her mother Maria, who is with us today, has to live in with these two children and one other who is home with special needs. The home that they live in has no landscaping and no special manicured existence. She lives in fair to poor conditions, a very difficult 24/7 existence, a life sentence that some may say. This is Maria's ex-husband's lawyer's home. The picture ahead. The ex-husband has 3 motorcycles, 4 cars, 2 boats, vacations, a whim clearly of a life to live. It appears the lawyer insider is taking advantage of his lawyer position and his lawyer connections, and this is obviating his family. I have with me as the subject to my immediate left, Maria Composte-Longhi, who's the legally abused victim by a lawyer ex-husband, and with her child Carl in front of her. And to his left, the other, Eileen, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, Eileen. And then to her left, Carl Lanzisera from Americans for Legal Reform, who totally supports this particular situation. And to his left, Bill Hayes, who's Americans for Legal Reform as well, and is again supporting the situation. You know, this is a very difficult situation, Carl, and I'd like you to do us a favor and bring us up to speed a little bit about where the existence is with these 2 children. You know, what is it that...
Well, Maria married a Long Island attorney, very successful attorney. Actually, he went down to Chile and married her and brought her back here. And at one time, she had a tremendous source of income from her very wealthy parents in Chile. But because of circumstances in Chile, when the money ran out, he left and married someone else. He has a substantial income, tremendous wealth. We called him up one day and said, your daughter needs a new wheelchair. He told us to go to hell. And we made a motion. We encouraged Maria to go to court, and family court, and make a petition for an upward modification, and which she received an additional $1,000 a month to help support and maintain these children. What took place 5 years ago in the stipulation of divorce is not enough today to take care of these children. They were all smaller. They were, like any children, took less time and energy and money. But now they need more, and she asked for more money from him, and he refused to give it. He claims he has no income. The day he was in court saying he had no income, the next day he was kicked off an Iberia airline drunk with his new wife. He bought a house and jewelry during the terms of while he was still married to Maria and the parent of these children, claiming he had no income. He has a $14 million line of credit, Chris. He draws down from that money. He doesn't call it income. He calls it a loan. It's against his future earnings. Every time he wins a case, it's credited. He doesn't get the money all at once. It comes in.
So let me get this straight. He's a lawyer. I believe he sues nursing homes.
He
Did I hear that right?
sues nursing homes when someone falls out of the wheelchair, gets hurt, gets bed sores. He sues the nursing home. Very successful. He's the guru of nursing home litigation. If you want to sue a nursing call, you call him.
So with with the connection that he has with nursing homes, you would think that maybe he might be able to find something for Eileen here. Who might be, you know.
She needs a chair. She needs lifts. She needs more money. She needs a car. She needs help to take care of these children. In the meantime, the court did give her $1,000, and the head of matrimonial court, Suffolk County, McNulty, reduced the money, gave it back to the husband because he's a good old boy of the court system. Asked McNulty to take care of these children. Instead, Maria McNulty suggested that Maria, the mother, get a job 40 hours a week. I dare Maria McNulty to babysit these children one day in her life. That's okay. It's good. It's a good part of this is an example of what Maria has to go through daily, getting the kids ready for school, taking them home from school, preparing dinner. Bill goes over the house and helps clean.
And these are two of her special needs kids.
The other boy is he's doing very good now.
Okay.
And his problems are pretty much solved. In fact, today he's with the father. The father does take the one child to court and to work and around so he can show him. But
where he could really show his colors and isn't is with these two children.
He doesn't have the
more
patience. No patience with these children. No patience with Maria. In fact, he's intentionally spiting her now. The small amount of money that he does pay, he's late intentionally to make her suffer financially and food for the children. But I say, I dare Marion McNulty or any of the 6 judges that were participated in this case to babysit one day what Maria has to go through instead of failing the children. And Marion McNulty, Judge Marion McNulty, Chief of Matrimonial in Suffolk County, has failed many children. She doesn't even care about children. This is an example of it. She should take one look at what she's doing. She doesn't want to see it.
I mean, clearly, if anyone was seeing the activity in the kids and what the state of being is with these special needs children here in front of the viewing audience, I mean, somebody would say that these are difficult situations for her to handle, and certainly she would use help and could use some major league help.
24/7.
Yes. In fact, special education children, they do require a great deal of help, and I was a special education teacher for many years, and I can tell you that one thing that I eventually realized after working, very hard field to work in, on the other hand, I realized that it was even harder for the parents to have to take care of these kinds of children. I can't imagine what her life is like. She can't get out and do anything other than take care of these children 24/7. And this Judge McNulty has been saying, well, she should go out and get a full-time job.
Yeah, sure.
Instead of
Just
her
quit.
husband or her ex-husband,
it's
the father of the
unfathomable.
children, paying what he's supposed to pay.
It's unfathomable that a judge could say that based on these kinds of conditions. Was there a law guardian involved? My question, was there anybody looking at the needs of the children?
Yes, there was a time that there was a law guardian involved during divorce, but the person was totally in favor of my husband and the judge's decisions. They totally ignored me about my requests, the needs of the kids. He saw the kids, I know, one time at his office, and then he went to David's house when he was still legally married with me to see this new house that now is in David's new wife's name. And he never visited me in my house with my kids to see really the needs that the kids had during that time, that now are even more than that. So what kind of law guardian is that deals with special needs kids, and he doesn't even visit the house where they really live and the school district where they are? It's outrageous the way that things work in court.
What was his name, Maria?
His name was, what's his name? Robert Fuchs. He had an office in 2004, 2005 in this place called...
See, what her ex-husband does is overburden everyone with legal manipulations. So she was forced into a stipulation of settlement with 3 years of alimony, and he does pay some money towards the child support.
She was forced because she didn't have...
Because she ran out of money for legal expenses.
I ran out of legal expenses. My mother...
So this doesn't say very much for the people that are of the pro se legal advice that someone could get, right, for her?
No. She couldn't, there was no one like...
One of her problems is that she doesn't have citizenship here in the United States, but he is responsible because he brought her into this country. And so therefore he should be bearing more of his, he should be bearing the responsibility of fatherhood.
So the audience is clear, though, the citizenship aspect takes away the opportunity for her to get funds from the government.
No.
Right?
No.
Legal assistance.
No, not for a lawyer, but people think that everybody qualifies for a lawyer at any time, and it depends on the circumstances. I could have got a lawyer during divorce, but my mother helped me pay the lawyer's fees, but finally I ran out of money. I didn't know that it was going to be so expensive, and that one of the lawyers was even going to turn his back on me by withdrawing a motion that it was totally in my favor.
Yeah.
And it was really bad for the judge, for the law guardian, and for my ex-husband, because it revealed a lot of things that they already had an idea about, but I put the evidence in front of their death about that my ex-husband during that time was not unemployed, that he had a big law firm. I found the ad in the newspaper that my husband had bought a second home.
Mm-hmm.
So
While he was still married.
While he was still married with me.
Right.
So I disclosed that information, and even the lawyer that I had during that time turned his back on me by withdrawing that motion behind my back, and then telling me something so idiotic like, it was not convenient for you, so that's why I took the decision to do that.
Did
It
that
was
lawyer
absurd.
have a chance to see you and your family at home?
No, that lawyer never.
Okay, so there's part of the issue, isn't it? I mean, how close is a law guardian or anyone who's representing them with these kinds of conditions not take it into play? This is my problem with law guardians everywhere. They're not serious enough.
It's an indictment of Suffolk County
That's right.
matrimonial, the lawyers and the judges, and their indiscretion and how little they care about the children. It's not about Maria. Maria's not looking for money to go shopping, to buy jewelry, to buy clothes. She needs a car where you can put a lift in, where you can put this chair in, and wheel the chair in, not pick the child up.
So
she needs lifts at home.
What could possibly be his reason? What could possibly, if
He
let's say
wants
there's got to
her-
be some kind of reason.
He wants her to commit the children to an institution so he doesn't have to pay. He wants her to perhaps leave the country
I didn't
so he
hear that.
doesn't have to
But-
pay. He doesn't want the responsibility. He's during the time that we helped her in family court, he took 7 European vacations. Not one, during a 7-month period of time, 1 a month. In fact, one of the firms where he claimed we got him fired, it was really, he admitted that he got fired because it was never there. He has a caseload that would make any lawyer jealous.
Yeah.
But, and when he's not in court, he's on European vacation. He's selfish, greedy, and makes large donations to the system, and is well respected by the good old boys.
One of the things that we discovered too is he's probably been going around and telling people that he gave Maria a house. But the truth is that the money that he does give for the child support goes to pay for a mortgage on the house. So he didn't give her a house, he gave her a debt
Yes.
to pay off.
Which has no equity.
Yeah.
Yes, and now by the time with the lawyer's fee and all the other things that have happened during these years, there is no equity. And I don't know what I'm gonna do next month because he hasn't paid child support for 2 months. Maybe by the end of the month it will be 3. I'm late with the real estate taxes. And meanwhile, he keeps crying poverty, and I know that he's hiding money with his new wife and other
He's
relatives.
remarried?
Yes, he's married. I know also that this type of people, they also use some relatives or friends to hide money in accounts, maybe here, maybe in other states or overseas. I can tell you a lot, and I know a lot because my father is a lawyer and accountant in Chile, and it's exactly the same. Chile, yeah, it's exactly the same. Chile, people think that it's a very respectable country, but I know exactly what's going on there, and it's. My father also stole my mother's fortune. My grandfather had a lot of money. He made it building roads and And my father was so greedy. He was making good money as a lawyer, but it wasn't enough. He had to take away all the money that my mother had. So my mother barely helps me because most of the money is under control of my father, and she doesn't even know where he put it. And she gets no help from lawyers and friends because everybody wants to help my father.
Now, this father, David Grossman, is able to hire another lawyer, James O'Rourke, Esquire, who does all his paperwork. So she has to deal with 2 law firms, 2 staffs, and all the paperwork. And this is the way the divorce went. Bombarding motions, frivolous paperwork, and the court waives his motions to go ahead. And she was in court, and she wasn't even allowed to submit documents and evidence. Hearing officer Jennifer Buteau, and with McNulty's blessings, the black hand of McNulty, she wasn't even allowed to submit one piece of evidence.
How would you list or prioritize the legal faux pas that this man has made in terms of the corruptive aspects and what things he did he shouldn't have done that he got away with? How would you?
It's good old partisanship. He couldn't do anything.
Did you list them? What were some of them? I mean, just off the top of your head.
He said, "I have no income," and he gets.
So there's a lie there involved.
He has a
in the
line
income.
of credit of $40 million
Right, so
that he borrows against. He said that his new father-in-law, he won a $4 million case, malpractice case, a trip and fall case, and instead of taking his $1 million fee, the new father-in-law gives his daughter, the new wife, David Grossman, her ex-husband, and their stepchild, $36,000 a year, tax-free. So he avoided having an income, but yet he gets $36,000 a year. The court didn't look into it at all to see where he's getting this money. It's improper under the rules.
Just curiously, was that happening? Did any of that happen while they were still married?
No, that started after. But he's claiming a very limited income, so he doesn't have to pay her any money, and the percentages that he does pay are based on false numbers.
Let's go to the child support thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Maria. Did you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say something about that. That yes, he won a case for his new father-in-law of $4 million. But my ex-husband has won cases for millions during all these last 16 years. So how can the father-in-law be rich and give her or lend him money to this lawyer? It's absurd. It doesn't make sense. Then how can he get a loan of $40 million, a credit line, and he has no problem with the bank to get it? So it means that they're giving him the loan because he has the ability to pay. So why he doesn't have the ability to pay child support? The other thing is that these lawyers is amazing all over the world. I can tell accountants, lawyers, tax lawyers, they avoid taxes like crazy. They want people to pay them cash as much as possible. And the other thing that they do, I know when they have big cases, if it's a friend or a relative that they trust, they let all the money go to that person, so then they get their third without paying taxes under the table. That's what's going on. It's outrageous.
Yeah. So the lawyers avoid paying taxes by having the money go elsewhere, and the taxes are paid by where that money goes. But when it comes for the lawyer having money
for his child,
he doesn't give it to his child. He gives it to himself for a vacation, and his wife pays the taxes on it.
The boats, the motorcycles are in his name. The boats are in nominee names. The property was bought in his future wife's name, girlfriend at the time, and then switched around to his name after he was married, and not allowed to be shown in the court. Those finances had to be disclosed. It's a indictment of Suffolk County matrimonial, and it goes on every day. There are many horror stories like this. Marion McNulty sweeps under the rug. She should be called to task. She should be called to see what the damage.
Let's
she
take a
has
look at
done.
this child support situation alone. I understand that she was awarded $1,000, is that right?
$1,500.
$1,500 for an upward modification? You applied
Yes.
for an upward modification? Okay, so she received that.
She was awarded that. He questioned it in family court. The judge, Hoffman, affirmed it, said that her ex-husband, David Grossman, lacked credibility, so he moved it to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court, under McNulty's black hand, reduced it back down, retroactive. There's not another father on Long Island that's ever happened to, and I haven't investigated, but I will bet $100,000 that he is the only one, because he's a good old boy of the Suffolk County
He
matrimony.
never even requested the downward modification.
Without, yes.
It was given to him by this judge. In other words, some kind of a backroom deal was made.
So there was
Yes.
no paperwork.
No, the thing is that all the matters should have stayed in family court, because really when he brought the case to Supreme Court, he was not bringing any different issues, like there was no change of circumstances in his life. And then all the papers that I show to Jennifer Buto about his cases, in a way she ignored them and she didn't take
She
them
wouldn't
in.
even allow them to
And
be
she didn't
presented.
be
They-
presented, so
they-
then it was easy for her to base the decision based on the papers that my husband presented. But that was totally unfair. If you go to the transcripts, people will see that I tried to show her things that she didn't admit.
Yeah.
That's what the appeal is based on now that Maria has submitted, the downward modification without notice. And that's all in there. You must make a motion, and you must give the litigant time to address it. Hearing Officer Buteau did it sua sponte, never mentioned it, never gave Maria
For
time.
the audience, sua sponte is,
Just said it. I'm reducing his amount that he has to pay for child support retroactive without him asking, against the rules of the court. There's not another father on Long
They
Island
could take advantage
ever
of that,
received
sure.
the blessing of Marion McNulty that way.
Yeah, but anyway, even though he got a downward modification in Supreme Court, it was made retroactive up to a certain point. So he still owed me a difference of $8,000, $9,000 that he couldn't get rid of. He never paid them. Nothing happened to him. He didn't go to jail like regular people. Finally, he went to a friendly judge, and he even vacated that judgment of $9,000. So I ended up with nothing. The other thing that I want to tell you is that one time during all these years, he submitted taxes. For sure, I don't know if the taxes are the one that he shows to the IRS, because I know that this type of people show something to the IRS, then another taxes to the banks, and a different one to court in cases of divorces or family matters. They can arrange
Right.
these things with
Yeah.
their accountants. And in those taxes, I think it was 2007 or 2008, he almost made $2 million. But after all the losses and deductions, he put in his pocket $29,000. That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
that's unbelievable. I'm glad an appeal is in process to try to slow this down. With it last,
He has spent more money fighting Maria's appeal than she's asking for
yeah.
in legal fees to James O'Rourke. And James O'Rourke, who has no conscience to represent someone like this, David Grossman, is taking the money willingly and putting in false documents. Him and his staff and Marion McNulty should be held to task for this horrendous.
What could be done besides litigate this? I mean, is there any other possibility of any? Is there nothing? Is this going to go down?
There's enough laws on the books when a group acts in unison like
Concert,
this.
yeah.
that's RICO. And when it involves judges, that's treason. And treason is punishable by hanging.
Last 30 seconds, Bill, is there anything you can add that from your experience of visiting with Maria that you want to tell?
Yes, she does a great deal to make life livable for these children, and she never has any negative things to say and do. That it's unbelievable how hard she works and never gives up hope. And I'm telling you, I've never seen such a horrible condition for children to live with, and a parent to live with, than what this woman goes through. She's a great person, and this guy that she had married, not much of a person, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I don't understand the logic. There's no logic with these judges and lawyers, because how do they expect me to go to work when I barely have help? I just got help 4 hours a day, kind of, because I have to rearrange the schedule on kind of the visiting days that David has, and then he doesn't show up, and I end up with no help. And my daughter still has no help till today. And my credit is ruined. So how does he expect me to get a job if my credit is ruined to his negligence? Who is going to give me a job? No one.
And
I'm sorry, Bill, we have to wrap it up. Thanks very much. Maria, it looks to me like the situation is grossly unjust, and I hope that this appeal produces something. But if not, if nothing else, would the people that are in power in the judicial system create common sense and review this fairly so that everyone can see it? Put this case up so everyone can see it, because this program is doing something that you can't do. You can't find justice in your courts. Societal and political trends are rapidly breaking down the family that once was the cornerstone of our great American culture, and this is evidence, and I hope we make some changes here.
Frivolous lawsuits will be a thing of the past. Oh, what? It's coffee. It's supposed to be hot.
What's the difference between a lawyer and an onion? You cry when you cut up an onion.
What do you call a lawyer up to his neck in sand? Not enough sand.
You better get to the point and quick.
So all we gotta do is lie. That sounds simple enough.
Hey, listen, you bozo. I want my money. I am not going to end up a 31-year-old divorcee on welfare because my stupid attorney had a sudden attack of conscience.
This is the way I see it. Lawyers are scum. Divorce lawyers, though, are the fungus growing beneath the scum.